Let's go through a scenario that we're all too familiar with. We have this project that we've been wanting to start for ages. You've been wanting to create a business and leave your 9-to-5 job. You want to start recording epic-ass content for social media platforms. One day, you're sitting on your couch and you decide, today is the day that I'm going to start all of the things that I always said I was going to start, but I never started them. Today is the day I'm going to start them. After that, you spend several hours thinking about and cultivating the idea. Shortly thereafter, you spend several hours thinking and cultivating great ideas. Then, you sit down at your desk to do the work. After working for several hours, you begin to get demotivated because you realize it's going to take more than a few hours to achieve the results that you want. You have this grandiose vision on how you want this project to come out.
This project needs to be absolutely, incredibly perfect.
Yes, and you're right. Since this is the first project that you've ever done like this, you're absolutely correct that the first time that you're doing this project, it needs to come out incredibly perfect. Wrong! Hey, what's going on, you guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for joining me. In this video, I'm going over why perfectionism is ruining your life. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Please don't forget to click that like button down below. Also that subscribe button if you enjoy this content. I think we all have experienced some form of perfectionism in our life, where you wanted to start or do something, but you essentially held off because you didn't feel things were absolutely perfect before you'd start. When you wanted to start or do something, then when you try it, you realize that it's not going to come out absolutely how you envisioned it. You essentially hold off and don't even do the dang thing. This, my friends, is essentially a big barrier that's going to hold us back from progressing in life. The thought of producing something average, mediocre, or quite crappy, it can be so paralyzing that it basically stops us from even starting. There are times to make things look and feel absolutely perfect. And there are some times to make something decent, what I would call a WIP, work in progress, because essentially everything is, right? A person experiencing perfectionism needs to realize which category these tasks fall under. Is it something that needs to be absolutely perfect right now? Or is it something that can be a work in progress? Let me kick it back to the future for you really quick. In 1978, a researcher by the name of M.H. Hollander was one of the first researchers to define perfectionism. Mr. Hollander defined perfectionism as the practice of demanding one's self or others of a higher quality of performance than the situation actually needs. When you think about a situation or the task at hand, does it really require perfectionism? A lot of times the task or situation doesn't require perfectionism. We simply demand that of ourselves. In Mr. Hollander's research, it states that there are two forms of perfectionism: the good kind and the bad kind. Let's start off with the bad kind of perfectionism. This type of perfectionism is referred to as neurotic, self-defeating, and dysfunctional. People who have this type of perfectionism often set unrealistically high standards for themselves, and they're super tough to adhere by and solely base their self-worth around achieving these standards. Essentially, they mentally beat themselves up and they stop trying, and this is where procrastination kicks in, putting things off and prematurely stop the task before they even get started. This then becomes a vicious cycle. It means the person stops trying, they procrastinate, which ultimately means they never really achieve or do anything. Then this begins to affect their personal self-worth, which means that at this point, they're less likely to try, which means a decrease in achievement and can sometimes lead to depression. You see how this vicious cycle works? Believe it or not, there is actually a more healthier form of perfectionism. and that is called the good type of perfectionism. These people pursue higher standards without attaching their self-worth to the thing. Meaning, if they don't achieve the said thing, it doesn't really affect the way that they see themselves. The goal-setting process with this type of person is a little more intentional. Set targets high enough to push themselves, and a target that is not so high, it potentially becomes impossible to actually achieve the said thing. So you might be thinking to yourself that you have some form of perfectionism. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is to know that perfectionism doesn't even really exist. Some of y'all are gonna be like, bro,
I've heard this before. You ain't saying nothing new, man.
Whoa, hold up, pause. Let me give you an example. Do you remember when the iPhone came out around 2007?
iPhone.
We thought, yo, this phone is absolutely perfect. It has a touchscreen, I can store my music on it, and it even has a camera. Wow.
I'm buying $100,000 worth of iPhones.
This iPhone number 1 is absolutely perfect. Fast forward 13, 14 years later. Now we got the iPhone 12. It completely smashes that iPhone that came out in 2007. So does this mean that the iPhone that was released in 2007 is a complete piece of shit? No! It means that it was great for its time. Had Steve Jobs and Apple had this dysfunctioning, neurotic perfectionism and not released the first iPhone in 2007, we then would have never had the cell phone, smartphone revolution into this amazing touchscreen mobile phone market that gives us access and everything that we need at the tip of our fingers. Had we not had the iPhone 1, we wouldn't have the iPhone 12. This same principle applies in your life too. For example, YouTube videos. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button down below. The first video I recorded, I couldn't expect it to be as good and as refined as the one you're watching right now. Because over time, I got a lot better through practice. When I look back at my first videos, they're not that good.
Hey guys. Hey everybody. Man, almost done with this property. We are in the beautiful Henderson, Nevada, in the 89015 zip code. And upstairs, check out that cool daddy fan.
A person can't expect from themselves greatness the first time that they do a thing. So humble yourself and don't expect perfectionism the first time around. Life and business are ever unfolding. Always discovering, always unfolding new ways to do things. My advice to you is to set and allocate some time and some deadlines to complete a specific task. Do the best to your ability based on the timelines and deadlines that you set for yourself. Basically, take the outcome of the project out of your mind. Then when the time or deadline is up, that's it. You did your best during that time, and that is all that matters. From that point, you hand the project off to somebody that you're working with, or you launch the business and you get feedback. And throughout that feedback process, that is when you make your adjustments on that business or idea or thing that you started. You take the feedback and you roll that into the ever unfolding project, and that will keep the momentum going so you don't get freezed up and paralyzed on perfectionism. Instead of using happiness or how well you did on the task as a metric for the completion of the project, use time as a metric. Set a timeline for when the task has to be done, sprint and do the best you can in that time frame, and use that as a metric. This is something that has greatly helped me overcome perfectionism when I'm launching something or doing something in my life. Helps me get out of the perfection state of mind. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to smash that like button down below. If you've struggled with perfectionism in the past, I'd love to hear from you. If you think this video is gonna resonate with somebody, don't forget to share it with them. Also guys, if you have not subscribed to my channel, you get to go ahead and click that subscribe button and make sure that the notifications are turned on. Guys, I hope you have a phenomenal day. Be kind, rewind. Peace.